Howdy toddy everybody, this is Tommy with Colonel Reb Scout Models, coming at you with a little bit of a challenge for Heath, Patrick Hancock. I'll put his channel name right about here in the video for those of you who don't subscribe to Heath. Check him out, he does some really great work, and he just completed that rat rod for the group build that he's hosting with Nick Amberg, and it's really good work there. I wanted to touch on a little bit of not really an issue but an unsettled wager. So last year Heath and I made a bet because he's a big Alabama fan, and obviously I'm an Ole Miss fan, as y'all know, and they came to Oxford, and the game day, ESPN game day was there, Katy Perry, all that good stuff, and we upset them and had one of our best years in a long time, probably since the late 60s, the Archie Manning days, and tore the goalpost down, walked it through campus, all that good stuff. So big win for us. And this year, of course, we get to go to play in Tuscaloosa, where they are based. So we'll be going to Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's going to be on ESPN. The late primetime game, I think it starts 9:15 here on the East Coast and like 8:15 in Alabama. So it's going to be one of the big games of the day, if not the biggest. I think it's going to be the biggest game of the day. Could be the biggest game of the season. Who knows? Both teams are playing pretty well. Both come in undefeated. I think Alabama's ranked number 2 in all the polls. We're like 15, 14, depending on the poll. And, we've got a new quarterback. They've got a new quarterback. We've got one of the top defenses. They've got one of the top defenses. So should be a pretty good game. Now, historically, we don't play very well against Alabama in general. I'll admit that right off the bat. And we definitely don't play well against them in Tuscaloosa. So I think the last time we beat them there was like 88. And we've played them every year, especially since the SEC did the division play and stuff. So it's been a long time coming for us to get a win there. So last year, before the Ole Miss game, Heath and I wagered a kit on the outcome of the game, and so of course I won. So then comes basketball season, and my team went to the NCAA tournament. Didn't do as well as we wanted to, but we made it there, and obviously Alabama, not known as a basketball school, had some success in the past, but nothing to brag about like they do with their football team. So we made another wager. So I told him, we can either do another kid. In this case, we could do double or nothing, whatever. And of course we won, so now he owes me 2 kids. Now, the intention was that we were going to do this exchange when we went to the Aniston show, but then it got canceled, and I wasn't able to get to the IMS show in Birmingham, and I'm not sure if Heath went to that either. So it's kind of been an unsettled wager, an unpaid debt, as you would say. So with the game coming up, a lot on the line, I thought I would have a challenge for Heath. The thing with Bama fans is their team every year should be the national champion. Even when they're in rebuilding years, they think they should win every game. They just have this mentality of, we're entitled to this championship. We're entitled just because we're Alabama. Which is why they're probably one of the most despised teams in college football. And probably a little more so lately. A lot of people don't like Nick Saban, or some people like to say Nick Satan. And this might be his last year coaching, maybe another year, who knows. I would hope that this weekend's game and the outcome in our favor would kind of help him along that progression to eventually see the light and decide to end his coaching career. But who knows. But getting back to Heath. So again, Bama fans, they're very boisterous. They're kind of hard to deal with. Heath is a great guy. He's a super cool guy. He's not your typical Bama fan in most cases, but he does have his love for the team, like we probably all do. So, I was thinking I could probably do another double or nothing. Then when he loses, he would have to owe me 4 kits. $20, $25 a kit. We're looking at like $100. So I'm like, it's getting up there. Maybe we could do something different. So, we have a cat. That's our only pet. But he's been showing off his little pig, Emma, I think is her name. So my kids have always liked those pot-belly pigs, and they've always wanted to get one and talked about it, even more so than the dog, which is strangely enough. So I'm thinking if he's really so confident in his team, which most Bama fans are, that maybe he would go out on a limb and be willing to bet the pig. I don't know. It's probably by now it's, attached as a family pet, and you've got all the disappointment with the kids when the pig has to leave because daddy lost a bet and blah, 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 blah. So I'm thinking maybe that's a little harsh. But I still like the involvement of the pig. I think it's something unique because we all have kits. I have tons of kits. I really don't need another 4 kits. So I'm thinking if and when we win, because we are 7.5 point Vegas underdogs in this game, maybe that'd be harsh. Maybe he could keep the pig, the kids could keep the pig, but maybe what we could do is we could require Heath to, because winter's coming up, maybe get the pig, maybe one of those little costumes, a little sweater things or something to wear, and have it be an Ole Miss sweater, red or blue or gray, whatever, something with the logo, something with Ole Miss written on it, and little Emma, or maybe she's bigger Emma by now, I don't know, could wear the sweater throughout the rest of the year until next football season when Alabama has to come to Oxford, and maybe they'll have a chance at that point to win the game, and then Emma could maybe switch back to wearing an Alabama little sweater or something. So I thought that would kind of be a pretty good idea, something that's a little different than just a typical kit exchange, kit wager. So I'd be interested to see if Heath has enough faith in his team to put, I guess, the pride of his little pig on the line. And I would think, we don't want to get a situation where Heath never has the pig wear it, because how are we going to know? We're not there with him for the year. So I'm thinking maybe like monthly updates that he could go out, film, walking the pig through the park or something, or maybe take it to PetSmart or something when he's shopping for pig food, whatever pigs eat, and take some shots, maybe some video of him being in his town in Alabama with his little potbelly pig and the kids walking with a beautiful Ole Miss sweater for the pig, showing off his love, or the pig's love, for my team. So I think that would be good. I don't know if he'll do that. I don't know if he has got the confidence after all, because our team, we put up 70 plus points 2 games in a row against lackluster opponents. They played a lackluster opponent last week and struggled, where we haven't struggled. We are outscoring our opponents right off the bat. 4 touchdowns in one game, like 20-something in another game. No SEC team has ever scored two games in a row of 70-plus points in the history of the league since 1933. And actually only twice, or once in the modern era, has that occurred, and that was, I think, Houston back in '68. And you have to go back to the 20s and the 30s where teams were scoring 180 and 90 at will against teams. So, there's a lot of offense going on there. And, of course, our defense was already really good, one of the top in the country last year and this year, returning a lot of the players. And we've got a lot of new high recruits coming in that have been playing well. And Alabama has too, but their secondary has been a little weak, a little bit questionable last year, and seems to be continuing this year. So will Chad Kelly, the nephew of Jim Kelly, the Hall of Famer who played for the Bills and for the Hurricanes, will his nephew just put the air raid on, keep it going, keep it going? I'm not saying we'd score 70. Maybe we score 20. Maybe we score 30. Who knows? So anyway, Heath, just wanting to know if you're willing to put the pig's pride on the line, and if you're willing to dress your pig up in some Ole Miss attire, parade it around your town, do some monthly videos until next year when you have a chance to come to Oxford and take that win away from us. So anyway, it's up to you, Heath. Either way, we'll work something out. It's going to be a good game. So we'll see. As always, fellas, hotty toddy, and God bless.